welcome everybody to the September 20th regular monthly meeting of the Union County School Board. At this time, I would ask everyone to please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Mr. Hill, is there any additions or subtractions to this agenda that's been given?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, that being said, Chair will now entertain a motion to approve the agenda and minutes from August 14th, August 16th, August 21st, and the call meeting is September the 7th. And August 31st. I apologize, I missed something.
I'll make the motion, we approve the meeting minutes from those dates.
Second.
Do we have, okay, all in favor? Unanimous. Next item on our agenda is awards and recognitions. The Extra Mile Award, Ms. Setzer.
Thank you. Where's Stan, Mr. Hill? I'm used to facing the other way. Tonight we want to recognize one of our longtime employees who has done so much for our district over the years, Miss Edna Hicks, who is here with us tonight. Miss Edna serves as our lead registrar. She works very hard all summer. She gets ready for the new school year. She enrolls kindergartners, first graders, second graders, all graders, am I right, throughout the summer. Keeps up with wait lists. She tracks down documents and makes sure that everyone has everything they need so that we have the most accurate data. And she is one of the most friendly faces that people see when they come in for the very first time in Union County. And she's also one of the ones that keeps us all straight. We don't know what we would do without Miss Edna. So for all you do and all that you're going to continue to do for years and years, correct? Extra Mile Award.
We'll do 1, 2, 3. There you go, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is the discussion items. And we're going to start off with the CTAE budget and goal for the FY23. Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. You all have a copy of the proposed budget in your packets for the year for CTAE, and that's the operational budget, and I'd just be glad to answer any questions if you might have those this time.
That's a very nice budget you have right there.
Yes, sir.
I'm very proud that you're able to do that much for that price. I really am. That's you have over 209 work-based learners. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We do. Our programs are full, sir, and I just appreciate the community and the industry support that we get, and of course y'all's support. We couldn't do it without everybody, you know, so it's pretty amazing.
And this is Woody Gap Agriculture, middle school agriculture, middle school computer, middle school construction. That in itself, you're starting them early to where are they putting a track?
Yes, sir. That's basically to get them on track. Of course, the state requires us to do the computer science at the middle school level, but that puts them on the track it basically gets them ahead once they get to us at the high school. Yes, sir.
Correct. Does the board have any questions or comments to Mr. Davis?
No questions.
I thank you for your job well done. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank y'all.
Next item on our agenda is the superintendent's update. Mr. Hill.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, just a few things of, interest. Our enrollment's up around 3,040 students after the drop, you know, with, children moving and that type of thing, so that's a little bit of an increase in enrollment over last year. Our class averages at the high school are between 25 and 30, that's a good place. We do have a few classes with up to 45 students, you know, your bigger classes. Middle school class size average is 28. We have a couple up to 35, so we're in a good position there. We're fully earning that funding. Elementary school, you know, it should go down as we get lower in the grade levels. We're at 23, the largest class size is 24, so we're really, really well staffed there and appropriately staffed. Primary school, pre-K average 18, kindergarten 20, first grade 21, and second grade 22, so in really, really great shape there. Fully staffed and definitely not overstaffed, earning every classroom there. 3-year-old special education, we have 15 community students there. Woody Gap is at 67, AEP and Success Center is at 65. Our bus participation is up from last year. We're currently running an average of 805 riders in the morning and 1161 in the afternoon. You know, so you're looking at roughly 40% bus participation. Almost 2/3 of our kids are car riders. That's a little bit of a challenge. 60% car riders. But I think the addition of the middle school road that we built on the property that Bill Elliott donated to the school system on our property has really been a great addition, and really thank Mike Patton for making that happen. I think that's helped with our middle school traffic flow and changes that Chief Deaton and Mr. Ormby have implemented across campus. We've really seen a decrease in some of the wait times that parents have on the pick up and drop off, which we realize, you know, some people really need to get to work quickly and try to keep that in mind and make that as smooth as possible, especially for our parents with multiple children in multiple schools. And I appreciate Chad and Dr. Murphy and Cody have worked very diligently to make that traffic flow as good as they can, and I'm real proud of that work they did. Also, you know, like to really thank all the people that help us with traffic. In the first few weeks of school, we had help from the sheriff's office and city police, and along with about 40 other dedicated AM and PM employees at the school district that help with that pick up and drop off every day. So it takes a lot of people to get that many children home safely, and really appreciate that work. Shared all the field trip and fundraiser request information with the board, so we're trying to be very diligent with that, making sure that we document all that correctly and appropriately. On a positive note too, Union County Schools was ranked number 11th by the niche school rankings, and also we are going to be receiving a leadership award at the Charter Commission conference the first week of October, so real proud of our employees work for that. So does the board have any questions or concerns?
On the incident yesterday in the activity bus?
Yes, sir.
Do we have any idea how long that bus will be down?
A long time. More than
Any
likely.
idea?
More than likely, I've called around today, the guy that repaired our last bus, the tree it fell on, it's been 2 years ago now, I guess.
Yeah.
He is retired, so I'm looking for, another shop to take him. I've got some numbers today, people call, so I'm gonna check with them, see, but it's probably gonna be a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Bus was rear-ended by another driver, not the fault of our driver, but repairing those buses, there's not many people that do it, and supply chain issues, I would say, we'll be very fortunate to get back by the end of the school year. Unfortunately.
Was it like a small bus?
Yes, sir, it was our little white activity bus.
We have another one?
No, sir.
It's a good size.
They're very useful.
I called today and they're having trouble getting them supply chain.
We had nobody was injured.
No one was
that's
injured,
awesome.
Slight little rear end collision, somebody rear-ended our bus on 985. Thankfully,
Any
nobody
idea
was
if
hurt.
those children are gonna be able to compete later?
Yes, they will.
They will?
This was a practice opportunity for them.
Okay.
Essentially, it would have still, they would have won ribbons and so forth, but it was more of a practice opportunity. The actual competition is a little later in the year.
Good. Yes, I hate for them to miss out, but good learning there too.
Yes, sir.
The board have any questions or comments for Mr. Hill? Okay. Next item on our agenda is the second reading of the policy BCBI. Dr. Murphy.
Yes, Mr. Chair, as you said, this is the second reading of policy BCBI, which simply follows state law and provides the superintendent or the board to create procedures for removal of disruptive individuals at board meetings. This was required by one of the recent pieces of legislation. This has to be in effect by October 1st. Those procedures have to be on the website and in the central office for people to read by October 1st. And if the board chooses to accept this policy as written here tonight, then those procedures will be posted by October 1st. Are there any questions about the policy as it's written?
No, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Moving on down our agenda to the action items, the FY '24 middle school HVAC application. Dr. Murphy.
Yes, sir. This does not require anything other than a vote. If the board chooses to vote an affirmative on this application, it just simply allows us to begin procedures with the state so that we could get reimbursement for HVAC at the middle school. This is one of the things they use to buy their bonds, so they need to know exactly how many bonds to buy.
Right.
So this is just simply for their record keeping. Once it's approved, if approved, then it would just simply require the superintendent's signature and the chair's signature.
Very good. The board had time to look at all that? Okay. So, that being said, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the FY '24 Union County Middle School HVAC application.
I'll make the motion to approve the HVAC middle school application.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, the next item is the CTAE plan for the year 2023. Mr. Davis just spoke of it, and we all have a copy of it. Any more questions or comments for Mr. Davis?
Happy to see it.
And that being said, Chair will now entertain a motion to approve the FY '23 CTAE plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the FY '23 CTAE plan.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Unanimous. Moving on to the item number 3 is financial reports for July 2022. Ms. Lundy?
You have your preliminary July 2022 financial reports in your packet. Does anyone have any questions? These will be finalized after we close the year. I know we're currently preparing for our audit.
Our Pioneer RISA payment, that's just a one-time payment every year.
Yes, in July.
So we're on track.
All right. After reviewing the financial report, Chair will now entertain a motion to approve the July 2022 financial report as submitted.
I'll make the motion, we approve the financial report as submitted.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Unanimous. Moving on to our sick leave bank update. Ms. Setzer.
Yes, sir. Currently, we have 405 employees that are enrolled in the sick leave bank. Our balance right now is 235.25 days. We do not reassess another day, until it falls below 25%, which would mean it would have to be below 121.5 days. We've not had to assess a day since, October 2nd of 2009. So we have a healthy sick leave bank.
Glad for that.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 4 is the sick leave bank update. Chair will now entertain a motion to approve it as of September the 20th.
Make a motion, we approve the sick leave bank as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Unanimous. Next item on our agenda is the reading of the second reading of the board policy BCBI that Dr. Murphy just spoke about. Any more questions or comments to Dr. Murphy about the policy reading?
No.
Chair will now entertain a motion to approve the BCBI policy for our school board.
I make the motion, we adopt the BCBI policy at the second reading of that policy.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Unanimous. Next item on our agenda is the personnel recommendations. Ms. Setzer?
Sir, you have in your packet the personnel recommendations. Are there any questions? Have you been able to review those? Do you have any questions about those?
Hate to see Terry Hatchett retiring, but he'll still come by and visit, right?
I'm sure.
All right. Chair will now entertain a motion to approve the personnel recommendations as submitted.
I'll make a motion, we approve the recommendations for personnel.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? All say nay. All abstain. Thank you. The next item on our agenda will be item number 7, it's a public comment. Dr. Murphy?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have 3 individuals who are signed up for public comment. I will read the public comment guidelines, and then I will state who the individuals are, what they will be speaking about, and then give you the opportunity to call them forward. Each speaker must have prior approval to be listed on the meeting agenda. The speaker shall identify the particular reason or subject when obtaining agenda approval. All requests to speak must be submitted in writing by 24 hours prior to the scheduled meeting. All public speakers must state their names, address, and identify the particular reason or subject matter of the comment after the board chair recognizes them and before providing their public comment. In the interest of fairness to other persons wishing to speak, all organizations, groups shall select a spokesman or representative. Each speaker shall limit comments to 3 minutes. The speaker will not be allowed to speak concerning specific personnel and or personnel issues. The speaker will not be allowed to share confidential or protected information. Each speaker shall promptly conclude all comments when their time has expired. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a whole and not to any single member unless in response to a question from a member. Each person addressing the Board of Education shall do so in an orderly manner and shall not engage in conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting. All commentary must refrain from using profanity and or disrespectful remarks. Public comment will be limited to the first 5 individuals, representatives who complete the written request to provide public comment. The Board of Education shall not take any action to any public comment during this meeting. Neither the board nor the superintendent will respond to questions or comments during the board comment. The board will take comments under consideration and develop written responses if deemed appropriate. The first person who signed up was Mr. Vincent J. Peterson, speaking about board transparency.
Mr. Peterson.
How do?
Welcome.
My name is Vince Peterson. I live at 307 Odom Road. I'm here this evening to discuss the Union County Board of Education policies and procedures as they pertain to transparency of decisions regarding the education of our children. I'm concerned with the cost of education as I am a taxpayer. And I'm concerned with the quality of the education received by the students, since I am a citizen of the country that they will be responsible for in the future. I want to be sure that I am receiving a quality product for the money spent. How do I do this? I must be able to somehow assess the educational level of our graduates. Okay, what are their proficiency levels in English, math, other subjects? How prepared are they to earn a living or continue their education? These questions must be answered in order to assess the success of our schools in educating our children. Then I must be able to determine the cost of this education. The budget of income and expenses must be known at a detailed level, not just the aggregate level at which you approve the budget. We need to also know about the current assets and liabilities in order to determine the fiscal health of the district. Right now, this information is not readily available to the public. Without that, we can't make this assessment. Now, so complete transparency into the operation and decisions of the board is required, and I feel that it doesn't exist. The board does not provide sufficient information to the public and makes it extremely hard for the public to obtain information and provide feedback to you. To provide comments and concerns on board policies and actions, I am allowed a total of 3 minutes a month. Okay, this is insufficient to really provide the kind of information I would like to give to the board. A meeting with the board was requested to be held, and it was basically rejected. The board didn't respond, your lawyer did. The board has agreed to an ethics policy that states that, quote, a local board of education shall not adopt or follow any code of ethics which prevents the members of the board from discussing freely the policies and actions of such board outside of a board meeting. Now, if the board does not agree to meeting outside, it's a little difficult to really discuss these policies. So with that, I say no assessment can really be made of the board's efforts without this various information. Right now, I don't know how good a job you're doing or not doing. We don't have enough information to do it.
Mr.
Time,
Peterson,
sir.
thank you so much for coming by, and taking time to let us know your opinion. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
The next person signed up for public comment is Ms. Cindy Vendry, speaking on public participation at meetings.
Welcome, Ms. Cindy.
Thank you. Okay, my name is Cindy Vandry. I live at 123 Run Drive. My husband and I have been Union County residents for 15 years. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I would like to refer to the school board policy BCBI entitled Public Participation in Board Meetings. The policy states, quote, meetings of the Union County Board of Education are held to conduct the affairs and business of the school system. Although these meetings are not meetings of the public is invited to attend all meetings, and members of the public are invited to address the board at appropriate times and in accordance with the process established by the board or the superintendent. So the process established, which was read tonight prior to the public comments, limits each speaker to 3 minutes. It also limits the number of public speakers to 5. This restricts the public to a total of 15 minutes per month to address the board on any issue that may arise. I believe that elected representatives of the people who should represent the people ought to seek out the opinions of the electorate. New items of concern arise during the term of the board members that were not present at the time of their election. So board members should be willing to seek out the opinions of those who elected them so they can truly represent them. The public comment section of the agenda is also limited to simply making a statement. The board, by the process established, will not respond to questions or comments made during the public comments. No discussion is allowed between the board and the public. The board is given the power to provide written responses to the commentator only if they deem appropriate. A
commentator can have his or her 3 minutes and never be acknowledged to have spoken at all. The public comment agenda item is placed last on the agenda immediately preceding adjournment. This means that items on the agenda for discussion and action are already concluded before the public has the opportunity to comment. Public comments should be allowed as part of the discussion items and certainly before action is taken by the board. It appears that the board has established a process for public comments that severely limit the public from communicating to the board, and that further limits the board communicating with the public. When I've spoken at previous school board meetings, I did not just come to complain about something. I also brought what I thought might be a solution to what I was presenting. In this case, it would be nice to have a short discussion with some questions from the public, if there would be any, before everything is decided and voted on by the board. That's it. Thank you for hearing my concern.
Thank you, Ms. Cindy.
And the next person to speak is Mr. Millard Blanchard on lack of American heritage education.
My name is Zeb Blanchard. My address is 897 Wilmar Circle. I live in Ivy Log. I'm presenting information to the board as a petition for redress of grievances. This ties into what I'm going to talk about. Tonight, I'd like to spend my 180 seconds talking about the students' lack of knowledge in American history, heritage, and exceptionalism, or conversely, teaching of revisionist history. I discovered this by reviewing elementary school history books, looking for this specific syllabus, and then verifying my findings with an American Heritage questionnaire that I gave to students coming here for awards and to the high school medical students that I mentored when they interned at the local free clinic. All of those students were exceptional. Maddie was my favorite. She went on to medical school. No student answered more than 2 questions, excepting the last question, which I will read now. Would you like to learn more about American heritage and history? All students answered in the affirmative. All questions were preceded with, were you taught in school, in order to not embarrass the student. I'll read the questions as I can before the clock runs out. The questions came in groups, and the board already has these questions. I've made this presentation before, okay? Were you taught in school about American exceptionalism? What do you remember about that lesson? Were you taught about the founding fathers? Can you name some of the founding fathers? What did they do? Were you taught about the 3 founding documents? What happened to the Articles of Confederation? Were you taught about the Constitutional Convention of 1787? What happened in that convention? I go back a little bit. The students could not answer these questions. Some could answer 2, maybe 3. You were taught about the hierarchy of levels of government. Were you taught about the supremacy clause in the Constitution? Were you taught the sovereign relationship between state and federal government? Were you taught about the enumerated powers clause in the Constitution? Name some of the enumerated powers. Were you taught about the constitutional right to redress that states have with the federal government? What is it? Does the Constitution guarantee a separation of church and state? How does it do that? Or why does it do it? Or does it do it?
Mr. Blanchard, thank you so much for your time. Mr. Hill, is there anything else that we need to address this evening? Very good. Chair will now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Make the motion that we adjourn.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you so much for coming. Have a safe drive home.